Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility follows the lives of the Dashwood sisters, Elinor and Marianne, as they navigate love, heartbreak, and societal expectations in late 18th century England. The novel begins with the death of their father, Mr. Henry Dashwood, who leaves his estate, Norland Park, to his son from a previous marriage, John Dashwood, as required by inheritance laws. This leaves his second wife and 3 daughters, Elinor, Marianne, and Margaret, financially vulnerable. John's selfish wife, Fanny, ensures that the Dashwood women receive little financial support, forcing them to move to a modest cottage on the estate of a distant relative, Sir John Middleton in Devonshire. Elinor, the eldest Dashwood sister, is practical and composed, embodying sense, while Marianne, the middle sister, is passionate and impulsive, representing sensibility. These contrasting temperaments shape their experiences with love and heartbreak throughout the novel. Before leaving Norland, Elinor forms a quiet attachment to Edward Ferrars, Fanny's brother. Edward is kind and modest, but his reserved nature and lack of fortune make him an unlikely match for Elinor. Upon moving to Barton Cottage in Devonshire, the Dashwoods are warmly welcomed by the sociable and generous Sir John Middleton and his wife. The Middletons introduce them to Colonel Brandon, a wealthy and honorable man in his late 30s, who quickly becomes enamored with Marianne. However, Marianne finds him too old and dull, dismissing his affections. Marianne soon meets the dashing and charming John Willoughby, who rescues her during a rainstorm. Their shared love of poetry and music, along with Willoughby's flirtatious behavior, leads Marianne to believe he is her perfect match. Their romance becomes the talk of the neighborhood, and Marianne openly expresses her feelings for him. However, Willoughby abruptly leaves for London without explanation, devastating Marianne. Meanwhile, Elinor learns troubling news about Edward from Lucy Steele, a distant relative of the Middletons. Lucy confides in Elinor that she has been secretly engaged to Edward for several years. Elinor, heartbroken but composed, keeps the secret to herself, even as she suffers in silence. Her sense of duty and self-restraint contrasts sharply with Marianne's emotional openness. The Dashwood sisters travel to London with Mrs. Jennings, Sir John's mother-in-law, where Marianne hopes to reunite with Willoughby. However, Willoughby coldly rejects her at a party, revealing that he is engaged to the wealthy Miss Grey. Marianne is crushed, realizing that Willoughby prioritized wealth over love. Colonel Brandon comforts Marianne, revealing that Willoughby had seduced and abandoned his young ward, Eliza, leaving her pregnant and disgraced. Elinor, meanwhile, encounters Lucy Steele in London, and learns that Edward's engagement to Lucy has become known to his family. Edward's mother disinherits him for refusing to break the engagement, leaving him without prospects. Despite this, Edward remains committed to Lucy, earning Elinor's admiration for his integrity, even as it deepens her heartbreak. The Dashwoods return to Devonshire, where Marianne falls gravely ill after a long walk in the rain. Colonel Brandon, deeply concerned, helps care for her, and Marianne begins to see his true worth. Her illness becomes a turning point, prompting her to reflect on her impulsive behavior and recognize the value of steady, enduring love over fleeting passion. Elinor receives the unexpected news that Lucy has married. Initially believing it to be Edward, she is relieved to discover that Lucy has married Edward's brother, Robert Ferrars. Edward, now free from his engagement, visits Barton Cottage and proposes to Elinor, who joyfully accepts. Marianne, having matured through her experiences, gradually develops affection for Colonel Brandon and eventually marries him. The novel concludes with both sisters finding happiness in their respective marriages. Elinor's union with Edward reflects the triumph of reason and mutual respect, while Marianne's marriage to Colonel Brandon symbolizes her growth and the balance between sense and sensibility. Sense and Sensibility is a poignant exploration of love, family, and the balance between reason and emotion. Through Elinor and Marianne, Austen examines the challenges women face in a society where financial security often dictates marriage. The novel's contrasting heroines highlight the importance of self-awareness, resilience, and personal growth. Elinor's quiet strength and Marianne's passionate spirit make them relatable and compelling characters. Austen's wit and keen observations on human behavior ensure the story's timeless appeal, offering a thoughtful reflection on the complexities of love and the necessity of balancing head and heart.